What's good? Welcome back. Services Power Podcast brought to you by Impact Servant Leadership. Lyle's here with you, and we understand that we were offline for a little bit, couple of weeks, not podcasting. We wanted to make sure that we had a fantastic website experience for each and every one of you guys. Want to make sure the Services Power Podcast is strong, giving you all the content we possibly can in a way that helps change our world and our life around us. And so we apologize, but man, we're so happy to be back. I'm going to say this personally, but I think I can speak for all of us here at Services Power. Man, we missed you guys. We missed being in and a part of your life. We missed the opportunity to say some significant things to you that would probably help you become better servant leaders, better people, and more impactful in the lives of others. And we got to be honest. We need you guys too. We need you so much, and we want to admit that right up front. And actually, this is all this episode is actually about today, about the value of being needed. I recently lost my mother-in-law, and the thing that was really impressive about that time of our life was watching how my father-in-law interacted with my mother-in-law, with the people around that situation. She unfortunately passed away from cancer, metastasized so quickly that we didn't even get to find out what kind of cancer it was. But man, my father-in-law just kind of stepped in, and he jumped right in, and he took charge of situations, and he was here, there, everywhere. So little sleep, so much energy given into this woman, into her situation, making sure that the last moments of her life were significant and happy as possible. And it was just a really impressive thing. You saw even after her passing how much she meant to him and how much value her life was supplanted into his life. I mean, even with the mannerisms and some of the keepsakes and some of the things that they both valued together, and the way that he continued to honor those things, even through her passing, you could tell how much they wanted each other, needed each other throughout their lives. 30 plus years of being married. And you can see that they were two very capable individuals on their own, but they allowed themselves to be required and needed by the other person. It was so cool because now in our day, so many of us are being taught how to be independent. It's very prevalent in our culture how we can just do things on our own. We should do things on our own. We don't need anyone else. I mean, those guys were married for 30 plus years, and now we have people that are married, but some of them are saying, I don't really need you. You don't really need me. You can just be on your own. It's completely okay. And listen, I'm not saying today, we're not saying that being independent is a bad thing. We're not saying it's wrong. There are points and places in life today where it's great to be able to stand on your own 2 feet, be strong, be independent, be powerful, have your own mind, have your own ideals about life, and stand up and be proud of yourself and look within and be able to define for yourself who you are. You don't have your identity attached to anyone else. But it's an internal thing where you really know who you are, and you're able to take care of situations and things on your own. We're not downplaying individuality or independency at all. However, we are talking about the possibility that it's great to find some type of need in others. Think about this. When is the last time someone told you that they needed you? How did that make you feel? What was going through your mind? Where was your level of confidence when they said, hey, I need you? Now, adversely, when's the last time you said you need someone? How did that make you feel? I think for some of us, it made us feel pretty weak, pretty insignificant, pretty vulnerable. I would like to submit to us in this podcast episode that the strongest people know when they need somebody. One of the most powerful things on this earth is the power of a phenomenal question. If we're able to question our current state of being and place ourselves in a position that we can learn and grow and engage with someone else's ingenuity, strength, understanding, wisdom, we're going to be in an enhanced place, even if we are individuals. How much can we gain from the ideals and the lives of other people around us? Not that we're weak, but we are where we are. We are who we are. And it's possible that we can gain from that person over there. See, servant leaders look at being needed from a completely different perspective. Servant leaders aren't needy. They are needed. Can I talk about neediness for a minute? I think we all have had that annoying person in our life that, wow, they are clingy and they almost seem as though they cannot operate unless they have you or some other thing almost choking their life because they can't function without having these other people. And that's not what a servant leader is. Servant leaders aren't people that demand attention, that demand the spotlight. They're not needy. They're not saying, hey, look at me. Look at what I have. Look at what I can do. However, they're on the other side of that conversation. They're needed. They have value. They have significance. There's something about a servant leader that you and I can add them and what they do and who they are and how they operate to our lives. Now, when we say needed, we're not talking about just a general statement. This is all specific. This is all stuff that a servant leader actually does some work in. Servant leaders don't just show up on the scene, show up in the relationship, show up on campus and say, hey, I'm a servant leader. You need me. Oh no, we're doing some work. We're going in, we're assessing situations, we're assessing people. We're not thinking about ourselves. We're all just looking at what's going on externally. We're observing. We're taking mental notes. We're taking physical notes. We're observing our surroundings. We're getting involved in the environment. We're thinking about how things are going, what the things are that are good. Because positivity is something that needs to be encouraged and infused, and servant leaders understand that. We're not just problem solvers, but we're greatness enhancers as well. We're looking at all that stuff, and when we come into the situation, we want to be able to improve upon whatever is going on. So it's not a general thing. This is specific when it comes to servant leaders. And we showcase our need to everyone around us. Productivity from a servant leader is so high, it's evident. In episode 4, we talked about being countable leaders, confidence in leadership. We were talking about being an equal sign, being at the end of the equation, making a difference. This is what productivity from a servant leader is all about. And it's at such a level that immediately people can see it. People can notice it. It's not necessarily about the servant leader, but this is what servant leadership inside of a situation does. When a servant leader inserts themselves into a team, the team gets better. Maybe not the servant leader. It's not about the servant leader's production, but it is about the team's production and the difference that a servant leader makes within that equation. Hopefully that makes sense. I think we all have an inherent human chemical desire to be needed at some level. I remember sitting on my couch one day and I'm looking around at my family. I have an 8-year-old daughter and a son who's about to be 7 at the time of this recording. And my wife and I have been married 14 years. And I'm looking at them. As a matter of fact, I had just gotten back from a trip. I was in a couple of different cities. And I'm looking at them and they're not missing a beat. They're functioning just fine. Now, I was only gone 11 days, and I tell you, the kids were super excited to see me. They had presents. Unfortunately, I had missed Father's Day, and so they gave me their Father's Day presents, and there was this joy and jubilation when I got back. But I mean, I was looking at them, and ladies and gentlemen, I realized that while they appreciate me, They love me very much. These guys are so good. They're so fantastic. My wife is just incredible. And for a moment, I thought, man, they don't really need me. But that feeling was quickly dashed away when they talked about how much they missed me. So in this one moment, I realized the agony of being needed, but then the value of being needed. All at the same time. I think we all have some type of desire to be needed. And servant leaders actually work at being needed. What? They work at being needed? What does that even mean? Because I tell you that it could sound very selfish. It can sound very jacked up. I mean, because we want people to be able to function on our own. I've heard it said so many different times that the best leaders are the leaders that you don't even know are there. However, their leadership style, their leadership ability is prevalent within their team. The best kind of leaders produce so much confidence in the people around them. They produce so much talent in the people around them that they could step away from the situation and the situation would still run great if the leader wasn't there. So then why would servant leaders work at being needed? This is how. First of all, servant leaders look at the needs of others and then they meet the needs. Because we all have this inherent need of desiring to be needed. But of course, we want to build smart people, intelligent people, the best type of leaders that admit when they do have needs. We're all human. We all make mistakes. We all have deficiencies. And servant leaders go in and look at the successes and see, hey, maybe we can improve on this. We look at the deficiencies and say, hey, maybe we can make this better. We can improve. And these are the lists of things that we can do to enhance whatever this might be. We look inside and see the needs and we start to meet them. We become the catalysts. We switch and we change. It's not about us, but it is about the people. It's about what's going on. It's about what's happening in the relationship, on our cul-de-sac, in our university, wherever we might be. It's about them. And then we contort and we change to become adaptive to the situation and allow the situation and the people within it to grow. And it's because we're the type of people as servant leaders to stop, pay attention, listen, and learn about who and what is in the situation. And we try to make it better. Servant leaders make personal and authentic impacts on people's lives. And this is a big deal because these things happen in personal and in professional methods and ways. First of all, servant leaders on a personal level, they're all about knowing and caring about other people. And ladies and gentlemen, this stuff takes work. This stuff doesn't happen automatically. It happens organically, but even that organic relationship on a personal perspective takes a lot of work. It takes being selfless. Conversations can't be about us as servant leaders. It needs to genocide and create and grow from being about them. Again, in this podcast episode, we mentioned about being great question askers. And we're going to do another podcast episode soon on the power of asking questions. But if we can ask the right questions in the right moments, we can maximize relationship with any person. It's about understanding them and knowing them. And then using those moments and that information to then show empathy and sympathy. It's not about us telling our story of success. I don't know about you guys, and this might not be for everybody, but I know one thing for me personally is that I cannot stand when I'm telling a story, when I've got something going on, and a person then jumps in by saying what they're going through and their issue and their problem, because now I feel like I have to carry your burden when I've just given you mine. Does that make sense? We don't take people's burdens and then trade them with ours. As servant leaders, what we do is we take their burden and we place it on our back and we help them carry it. That's one great way for servant leaders to really care about other people. And we know them and we do our best to remember them in a way that is significant to other people. And from a professional perspective, We understand the environment and we lean into it. A lot of people talk about being environment changers and environment shifters, and those things are fantastic. Servant leaders also shift and change environments. But one of the great things about servant leadership is that we go into an environment and we embrace it first. In episode 4, we talked about how confidence in leadership, about being the type of person that anyone can trust. We said no one follows someone that they can't trust. And the way we build trust with people, especially in a new environment, especially when the environment is not as healthy as possible, is being willing to jump into that environment with the people that we work with, that we're surrounded by, and saying, I'm in this with you. I see you. I know where you are. And I'm going to jump in this thing with you for a minute to let you know that you're not alone. I'm not on the outside looking in. I'm not separated from you. I'm with you. I support you. And we lock arms in that foxhole and we fight together. We understand the environment. We lean into it. And then we invite people as we're in that environment to then change the environment. What does this do? This produces real, vibrant, consistent, powerful trust with the people around us. And in response, they're going to be like, wow, we really needed this type of support. We really desired for someone to be here with us, see where we're at, see how we're struggling, and then be with us, listen to us, see where we're coming from, and then help us all, guide us all into a different situation, a different place, so that we can all grow together. Servant leaders leave visible imprints on where they have been so that people can be confident in where they're going. This is valuable information. This is a valuable story. This is a valuable track record that other people can trust in. They can grab onto it. And so maybe you're a person that's listening to this podcast episode and you're saying, well, I don't really have a past. I don't really have visible imprints that people can trust in. I want to encourage you right now to begin to start those imprints. Start those stories, whether that be in your community as an activist, as you know, getting around some students, some kids, and helping them produce trust and necessity in them, showing them your faults, your mistakes, being a little bit vulnerable so that people can come alongside of you and you can come alongside of them. Maybe it's in your classroom, helping a classmate, aiding your professor, whomever they might be. Finding out what the issues are on your campus, finding out what the issues are on your jobs. Maybe you just started a job. Your input, your outlook is valuable. Find someone to be able to instill this information and give this information to so that you all can grow and become better. And then being willing to ask great questions, find out what your mistakes are, and allow them to formulate a story that people can trust you. And that's what we're about today here at the Services Power Podcast. We want you to be able to trust what we're giving you. Trust that we're going to be with you on every step of the way on this journey together. We're so glad you're on this train with us, and we're looking forward to getting with you on the very next stop. We're honored to serve.